What is going on, guys? So the Dallas Cowboys finally won their third game of the season. I'm going to be completely honest. I did not plan on coming on tonight and doing a live show or even do a video for like tomorrow, but we got a win and it's a short week. So we have Washington on Thanksgiving Day, of course. So I thought, why not come on, give a little post-game thoughts because, I'm actually in a pretty decent mood. I am tired. It's been a long weekend. But it was nice to see the Cowboys finally win a game. We're going to start with Andy Dalton. And to be completely honest, I didn't think he was great. But if anything, he might have been a little better than I expected. He did make some good throws, and he did make some plays here and there, and he didn't completely choke in the end. But at the same time, man, there were multiple opportunities for the other team to pick him off, I believe, towards the end and in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. And it does seem sometimes like Dalton in the clutch, it can just be an accident waiting to happen. I don't think there's a huge drop-off from quarterback play from what we saw with Garrett Gilbert in Pittsburgh last week to what we're seeing with Dalton now. But at the same time, I don't really see what Dalton offers us or brings to the table that Gilbert doesn't. I just think Gilbert makes less mistakes. Obviously, we haven't seen nearly as much of them, but it seems like with Dalton still recovering, obviously he doesn't have COVID anymore, but with him just still getting over it, getting his sense of taste and smell back, we could have used that as an excuse just to give Garrett Gilbert one more week, ride that momentum. I would have preferred that, but like I said, Dalton got the job done. Towards the end, that final drive, I was kind of hoping we would run the ball more, and we didn't, but it did end up working out in our favor. So I guess I can't complain too much, right? So we finally got the run game established. Zeke had his first 100-yard game of the season, and I think it kind of proved that Zeke's not washed up. I've been saying this all season. It was concerning when he was fumbling the ball a lot. He wasn't getting very many touchdowns. But the fact that Dwayne Wright said the same thing about what? I just saw your comment. But yeah, so Zeke comes in, and when he has some space, I mean, he gets some 10, 15. He had an 18-yard carry, right? He's not a home run hitter at this point in his career. He's not as fast as Tony Pollard. He's big and strong like Derrick Henry, but he's not fast like that. But Zeke is still one of the most patient runners in the NFL, and he has great vision. And there was that one draw, I think it was the 18-yard run, where, I mean, he literally just stood there for a couple seconds and waited for the hole to open up, and then he exploded. He runs between the tackles, so he gets beat up a lot, and that's happened a lot this season. I mean, Zeke's taken some hits, but he stays on the field. He's durable. I still think he's consistent. When you give him a formidable offensive line, he still gets the job done. Adrian said we finally got the W. And by the way, Dwayne and Adrian, thanks for coming in and checking out my video. But yeah, it's about time, right? It kept feeling like it wasn't going to go our way towards the end of the game, especially when we scored with a minute and a half left. I felt okay about it, but I was like, Vikings still have a chance because our defense was really starting to struggle after they were starting to get worn down in that second half. Defense came out swinging, and they were quick to the ball. The defensive line was getting pressure, and Donovan Wilson was out there making plays in the first half. I mean, the hit to Dalvin Cook reminded me of something we'd have seen from Roy Williams 10 years ago, right? So that was great. And I believe he had both fumbles, did he not? The second one was a DeMarcus Lawrence sack, and I think Donovan Wilson just grabbed the ball from Kirk Cousins or whatever. So that was pretty cool to see. So a lot of Cowboys fans, including myself, have been saying that Donovan Wilson should have probably been the starting safety from the offseason, from the beginning of the season, not Darian Thompson. But it took the team a long time to realize that, but they finally did. So that was kind of nice. Another thing that the team finally realized is that Terrence Steele just isn't a formidable starter. You can't start him and expect to win games. So even though Stephen Jones was calling it crazy when the fans were calling for it and when the media was calling for it, as far as moving Zach Martin to right tackle, was it Stephen Jones or Jerry Jones that was saying it was like a fan like fairy tale to like try and move Zach Martin over to right tackle, and yet we do it. And the offensive line is 10 times better because, I didn't watch much Connor McGovern tape or anything during the game, but obviously he was a lot better than Terrence Steele because we were able to protect for Andy Dalton and we were able to open up some holes for Zeke. Let's see what Adrian said real quick. Would you say our defense jumped from dead worst to at least the middle of the pack in the NFL? Really seems like they just needed time to gel and get used to the new scheme. I don't even know if I'd call us middle of the pack right now, but maybe we're in the top 20. Maybe, I guess that's middle of the pack, right? 15 to 20. But because we're still not great, and we're definitely missing Trayvon Diggs back there right now. I think one of our defensive backs was Anthony Brown. Somebody got hurt during the game as well, so that sucks. You could tell the secondary is struggling. There was a guy out there starting. Was his name Rashard Robinson? And I was thinking it was Reggie Robinson at first, but it wasn't. It was Rashard Robinson. Didn't look like he had any business being out there. But, if Anthony Brown's hurt, we have Diggs out for the year. We might be lacking some depth at defensive back. So we're going to start to see guys out there that we probably don't want to see much of. It's just as the way the defense is playing is definitely much better. I mean, as fans, we could definitely see a difference and just the effort out on the field. Defense just wanting it a little more right now. As far as stopping the run goes, Dalvin Cook got his, and he was always going to get his. But, we were talking all week about Dalvin Cook was going to have a 200-yard day and 2 or 3 or Lord knows how many touchdowns. And we held him to maybe 1 or 2 touchdowns, but 115 yards. And it was a tough 115 yards. I mean, he got stopped at the line of scrimmage a lot. He had a lot of 4, 5, 6 yard carries, and then he had some good carries too. I mean, 115-yard game is a good game, but he's been absolutely dominating defenses. So I'd say we look pretty good, and just the effort we were giving up front was really solid. And it started to struggle in the second half, but even in the second half, we were doing an okay job here and there at stopping the run. So yeah, I'm a little impressed in what I'm seeing with the defense, although there are definitely some holes right now that personnel-wise, there's just not much we can do with it. We can just do our best. Adrian said they really made Dalvin earn those rushing yards. Yeah, I completely agree with that. DeMarcus Lawrence, I noticed in the first half, he was quick to the run. I saw Randy Gregory a couple plays. I feel like did he play? I don't even remember. One thing I noticed, Sean Lee, I saw him early, but he hardly played throughout the game. I feel like I don't remember seeing much of Sean Lee. Van Der Esch in the first half was all over the run. Saw Jalen Smith missing some tackles, so wasn't excited about the way he played. Maybe the tape will show something different, but didn't think Jalen Smith played too well. How would you rate Dalton Schultz as a starting tight end? A pleasant surprise, right? I was really high on Blake Jarwin and his athleticism going into the season. And I don't have any stats in front of me right now, but I'd say Schultz is probably having a pretty decent season. I don't know. Was he have 300, 400 yards? I don't know. A few touchdowns maybe. But, yeah, he's impressing me. He's a solid blocker, one. And just from a pass catching, run after the catch, athletic standpoint, he's done what's asked of him. I mean, he doesn't have a huge role in the offense, but he gets a few looks every game, and he seems to make the most of it. And Blake Bell also looks like a backup tight end. He doesn't look like he doesn't belong on the field. I mean, he's big, strong, probably the better blocker of the two. But, I mean, Blake Bell had a 13-yard catch where he got a couple extra yards. So that was really nice to see. So I'm not worried at all about the tight end position. And going into the season with Blake Jarwin out, I thought that would be arguably the biggest weakness on the team. Maybe that was before I knew Tyron Smith and La'el Collins were going to be out for the season. But tight end position in general has been a pleasant surprise. So just to see Dalton Schultz catch the game-winning touchdown, to see the emotion from him, that was great. I love the energy from the offense in general. The receiving core was awesome. Barring Michael Gallup, had a drop or two here and there, I feel like. X Factor, what's going on, man? How have you been? Finally, Dallas Cowboys make a change on the offensive line, but why did it take them so long? Yeah, so this is something I had already talked about a few minutes ago before you came in. But, yeah, I mean, Cowboys fans have been saying it all season. Terrence Steele, you just can't play the guy. He's just not good. I don't know what else you want me to say. He has no business playing right tackle. You can't run to the right when he's out there. And the defenses were getting immediate pressure on the quarterback. I mean, it's night and day. What was the game that Dalton got hurt? Was it against Washington? Because I know Washington's got a tough defensive line, and the Vikings defensive line is kind of lacking, but it's just night and day the way they were able to protect for Andy Dalton today. Also, CD Lamb catch was catch of the year, the touchdown catch. Yeah, that was one of the best catches I've ever seen. It was one of the worst throws from Dalton today. Dalton had 5 or 6 just really bad throws today, and that was one of them. He overthrew Lamb. To be honest, it wasn't a catchable ball, and he still came down with it. He was fast, and he just had to – he was lucky to put his hands in the right spot, I feel like, to be able to come down with that catch. Adrian Garza said, what was your immediate reaction to the CD Lamb? I like the CD Lamb emojis, the CD Lamb catch. So, yeah, immediately I was like, wow, I didn't think he had a shot at it. Because it was one of those 50-50 balls, one of those back corner fades where I immediately knew that Dalton overthrew him. And I was like, oh, gosh. But then you see how quick and shifty and fast Lamb is. I was like, oh, gosh, he's going to have a chance at this. But the fact that he came down with it, I mean, that's one of the greatest catches I've ever seen in film. And I was at the Giants-Cowboys game with a one-handed Odell Beckham catch. I feel like that was a Thanksgiving game in New York. So I was at that game. Another great catch. Thielen had a really nice catch against us as well, by the way. And I was talking about our secondary really struggling without Diggs back there, having to play like Rashard Robinson some, and Thielen and Justin Jefferson definitely tore up our secondary a little bit today, but the defense was okay. I mean, Thielen and Jefferson is one of the best receiver duos in the NFL right now. I mean, Justin Jefferson is just lighting the freaking world on fire as a rookie. He's the real deal. And Thielen, I mean, probably should be double teamed at most times. He can't always afford to do it with Jefferson out there, but he was a monster, and the one-handed grab was really impressive. X Factor said, yes, it was against Washington where he got hurt, which concerns me for Thanksgiving. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to be a big concern because Washington's defense is the real deal. And I forgot who they played today, but I think they won 9-20, something like that. So, I mean, Washington's a contender in our division right now just because Alex Smith's about as formidable quarterback as Andy Dalton is. Maybe he's a little better, maybe not. I don't know. But the Washington defense, I would say they have the best defense in the division right now. So they're going to be something to watch for on Thanksgiving Day. It's going to be a tough game. I think we're going to be more competitive offensively than the first time because hopefully we've learned our lesson, and Zach Martin's going to play right tackle the rest of the season. Like I said, I don't know much about how McGovern played, but I know it had to be better than what we've been seeing out of Terrence Steele. We'll see what the PFF grades say. We'll see what the tape says, that kind of thing. Let's see. Those turnovers were important, but yeah, I wished while they got it earlier in the season, but hey, I will take it though. Yeah. So what we had 2 turnovers today. It was the 2 fumbles and Donovan Wilson. And I've mentioned this a couple times in this video already. Cowboys fans said it before the season started. Donovan Wilson should have been one of the starting safeties. In training camp, we kept hearing reports every day. Donovan Wilson gets an interception. Donovan Wilson out there making plays, but yet the coaching staff still decided to start Darian Thompson. So I didn't get it, but Donovan Wilson showing, and on Sundays he can still make plays. So that's really good to see. See what else y'all said. No, real quick, another thing I want to bring up is what do y'all think? Leave me in the chat and in the comments as well what you think about the end of the first half. It was kind of poor clock management because it looked like Amari Cooper could have probably gotten out of bounds. Maybe he thought he was going to get a touchdown there, but then we wouldn't have had to use the timeout. I saw a lot of people were saying that, we should have just ran the ball on the 1-yard line. If Zeke doesn't get it, it's halftime and you don't get a chance for points. But, Zeke's being paid. He should get it. I'd like to hear what y'all think about that. Personally, I don't like giving the ball to or I don't like running a play on offense where the defense knows exactly what's coming. We know how Zeke is. I mean, you give him a little space and he's going to make it happen. But if you're hitting him behind the line of scrimmage, there's not a running back in the NFL. I mean, but barring like Dalvin Cook or Derrick Henry, that are gonna sit there and still get you positive yards there. So I'm not going to blame Zeke too much for being put in a position to fail, and I'm kind of glad we didn't. I'm glad we took the points, made it to possession. At the end of the day, we probably won because we got that field goal there. So it kind of worked out in our favor. So let's see some more comments. Adrian Garza in the live chat said at one point Cousins had a passer rating of 158.3, which I think is as high as you can have. Yeah, so I mean Cousins was on automatic today, and his receivers are really good. At times we kind of sold out on the run. I mean, it's no lie. Cousins is at his best when they're running the ball all over the place, and play action is a huge threat because teams sell out on the run. They have to. Dalvin Cook's that good, and he just happens to have Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Kyle Rudolph, Irv Smith Jr., that kind of thing. So Kirk Cousins isn't a bad quarterback when things are going his way offensively. If they can't run the ball at all and he has to sit back in the pocket, that's when Kirk Cousins struggles and doesn't look like a really good quarterback. But man, the way Kirk Cousins was able to get comfortable, hand the ball off to Dalvin Cook 20-some times, and he's been doing it the past few weeks. I mean, that's why Minnesota had a lot of momentum going into this game, right? They were 1-5 and 3 wins in a row. So that kind of says it all. Obviously, they've got a winning formula on offense when they can just run the ball all over you. It definitely helps Cousins out. He was annoyingly good at times during the game. But the defense was great when it mattered, right? That last drive of the game, first down, we give up 4 yards on a little out route, gets out of bounds, that kind of thing. Minute and a half left. I'm thinking, are they just going to do this for like the next 30, 40 seconds, and then they're going to be on like the 30, and they're just going to wear our defense down, and then they're going to get the big touchdown play, the big home run play, and that's going to be it. Part of me, the negative Cowboys fan, part of me definitely thought that at times, but that 1st and 6 was it. They didn't get, or the 1st and 10 was it. They didn't get any more yards after the 2nd and 6, and the coverage on 3rd down was great. I'm having a mind blank now on what happened on 4th down, but obviously a win in our favor. Like we almost had the interception. When the defense wasn't exhausted, I mean, they did get some pressure in Kirk Cousins' face. I mean, Cousins was getting the ball out quick. He was playing a good game. He's got good receivers that get open quick, so you can't discredit him there. Like I said, when Kirk Cousins is comfortable, he's a good quarterback. Washington played Cincy Bengals as Joe Burrow got hurt. Okay, so I don't know how that game went. I know Washington won. I know Burrow tore his ACL. I saw that play. That sucked. Hope for a swift recovery for Joe Burrow, obviously. He was playing really well. I was liking what he was doing in Cincy. And I hate to say it, but obviously it's going to be in the Cowboys' favor that we're going to play Cincy without Joe Burrow. Ryan Finley, I haven't seen him play much, but I don't think he was that great at NC State. He was like a 4th-round pick. Maybe he has some arm talent. I don't know. But that's a winnable game for the Cowboys. We have that coming up within the next, 2-3 weeks, right? I think. So we saw what Washington did to them. I think we could probably beat Cincy. So if we beat Washington, we're all of a sudden potentially favorites to win the division. Maybe. Philly Eagles still only lead the division because of the tie. Yeah, they're up half a game. So everybody has 3 wins in our division right now. Eagles are up half a game, but I could argue that the Eagles right now look like the worst team in the division. The way Carson Wentz is playing, offensive line just not consistent. I feel like all their receivers are always hurt, like that kind of thing. I just don't think the Eagles are that big of a threat right now to the division. I'm more scared right now of Washington and their defensive line especially, obviously, and the New York Giants because they're not playing terrible football right now. I mean, they outplayed the Eagles thoroughly last week, so something to look at. Adrian Garza said, I thought at the end of the second quarter they had enough time to run one more play, like maybe a fade to the corner of the end zone, but the 3 points turned out to be crucial in the end, so I'm fine with it. So, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I wouldn't have been a fan of the obviously, if it works, I'm okay with it, but of the play call where you just line up and run the ball there, because if you don't get it, the clock runs out. Back corner fade, I would have been cool with another one of those. But, at that point, the defense knows what's coming. Is it really going to work? Is it worth risking with 5 seconds? 5 seconds can go by quick. So you're lucky if you have 2 seconds left on the clock after that. So it's just a risk. And I think at that point, we had already made a mistake where if Minnesota would have capitalized on it, they could have taken a lead. It was 7-13. We had the ball. We turned it over. They were coming back. I think they turned it over or they punted, and then we just had a chance to make it a 2-possession game, and I'm glad we did that. And obviously it worked out in the end. Cowboys X Factor said, also, speaking of almost, Andy Dalton nearly costing us the game with some interceptions that were dropped. But, yes, that wide-open pass to Dalton Schultz was huge. Yeah, that was great to see. I was happy for Schultz. Dalton scares me sometimes, more so than Garrett Gilbert was last week. I felt pretty confident with Garrett Gilbert. I mean, he might have had 1 or 2 mistakes, but Dalton, every game I've seen, has like 4 or 5 bad mistakes where I'm like, ooh, maybe he's just rusty. He hasn't had a lot of time to practice the past few weeks because he was injured with a concussion, and then he was sick with COVID. So I do understand that if he's a little rusty. But at the same time, yeah, he throws some balls where I'm like, whoa, what was the one play? Where was it a slant to Schultz or Bell, one of the tight ends on the right side? And he just threw it right at the defensive back. I was just like, whoa, maybe it was a safety. But yeah, I was a little worried about that. So guys, I think we can be kind of happy, right? I know some fans want us to tank, and that's going to put a dent in the tankathon there. I didn't hate that we were losing games at this point because I don't know if we're really going anywhere this season, but I think it's fun going into Thanksgiving that we're playing a big Thanksgiving game against Washington. And no, we're not like 6-win teams, but if you combine our records, we're 6 wins. But it has divisional implications. It's against the Washington football team on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, what more could you want if you want to watch some good football on Thanksgiving as a Cowboys fan? X Factor said, I think the win today probably means he will start next week, but I think there's a chance they go back to Garrett Gilbert. Yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely still going to stay with Andy Dalton, but if he starts performing poorly, then the Garrett Gilbert's definitely there. I think Dalton probably has a pretty long leash. I mean, we saw how good Gilbert played last week, and Dalton still got the start today. I don't think Dalton was impressive by any stretch of the imagination, but he does make some nice throws here and there. He's really good at those, 8 to 10 yard slants. He just puts the ball on the money, and we took advantage of that today. We ran like 5 or 6 of those at least. Obviously, him and Amari Cooper are developing something there, so that was good to see. Amari Cooper had a big game on the road. So that's something we need to remember for him. We haven't gotten a lot of those, but today was one of them. Michael Gallup, I feel like he had a couple drops. I was expecting a little more out of him. CeeDee Lamb had a good day. The bye week definitely did help. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we had a lot of time to prepare for this game. And like I said, Minnesota had all the momentum coming into this one. And Adrian Garza said, how long do you think the leash on Dalton is? If I was the GM, it would be a very short leash. Now, I wouldn't bench him after this game because he won us the game. But knowing Stephen Jones, Mike McCarthy, Jerry Jones, I mean, he probably has a pretty long leash. I mean, he would probably have to go out there and have like a 4 or 5 interception game or something before we bench him for Garrett Gilbert. And at the same time, you know how Jerry Jones is. I mean, if Dalton plays really bad, like look back to the Washington game. I mean, was Dalton bad that game before he got hurt? Yeah, but was it all him? No. I mean, the offensive line was horrible. Dalton didn't stand a chance. Now, could Garrett Gilbert maybe have done a little bit with less? Maybe. But Dalton's going to get, the excuses for that. So Adrian said, do you think they're not playing Gilbert so that there's limited film on him in case Dak ever goes down again, assuming they sign Dak, of course? I don't know what the plan is moving forward. Unfortunately, I would think you'd want more film on him because teams see that one start by him and they're going to think there's something there. I mean, the bad thing is, the last time he played before that game was in the AAF and he was killing it for was it the AAF or the other one or XFL? But Spurrier and the Orlando Apollos. I think that was the AAF. But yeah, Garrett Gilbert was really good last year there. So there is a little bit of film on him. I hope we'll bring him back. I don't know what the plan is. We may be planning on bringing Dalton back again next year as the backup. But Garrett Gilbert's the kind of backup I'd like to have. I mean, he obviously has a little bit of an it factor. I mean, we don't have a lot of NFL tape on him, obviously, one game, but he showed something. Yeah, Andy Dalton had to go out and play well, and they won. But had he played poorly and they lost, Dallas Cowboys fans would want Garrett Gilbert to start. And listen, it's easy as a fan and as a YouTuber for me to say that I would start Garrett Gilbert. But there are implications. I mean, Garrett Gilbert started one game in his career, and it was the last, it was like a week ago. So Andy Dalton is a known commodity. And I mean, we trust Andy Dalton, and we know Andy Dalton's going to make some mistakes, but he also put up 3 touchdowns this week. So, there is something to be said for that. I mean, he was on short throws. Dalton puts it on the money. That throw towards the end of the half to Amari Cooper, I mean, that was a pretty throw. Garrett Gilbert reminded me a little bit of Tony Romo. Yeah, don't get me sentimental, man. I miss Tony Romo, but yeah, he had a little spark, right? A little it factor. I like what I saw of Gilbert. And also Andy Dalton is a very likable guy. I mean, there was another play I forgot. I think it was like 3rd down and 6, and he put his body on the line again today and ran for it on 3rd and 6. And, not a very good athlete. He was willing to take a hit. Dalton does have these like leadership qualities that you typically don't get out of the backup quarterback. I mean, I feel like the team can get behind him. So I do understand why the coaching staff would go with an experienced known commodity. Maybe just because I don't have that kind of role within the organization, I'd be willing to take some more risks than the actual coaching staff would. How would you rank our receivers right now? Well, I'll say this. Amari Cooper's been outplaying Michael Gallup the past few weeks, I feel like. Gallup, unless I'm missing like a good game here and there, I think he's on a little bit of a cold streak where sometimes, he just doesn't get as many looks, and he has some mental errors every once in a while, just easy drops that, he's too good for. And I think he had a nice catch or two today, so I'm not really dogging the guy. He's obviously a very talented receiver. But right now, Amari Cooper's producing. So pure talent-wise, I love what I see out of CD Lamb. So, Gallup had a few drops. So I don't know where you would put CD or Amari. I think just based on pure production, you'd have to rank Amari Cooper first. And I would put CD Lamb second and Michael Gallup third by the way they're playing. But, I mean, just talent-wise, I mean, you'll see catches and plays from from CD Lamb that you're not going to see from either of those guys, from Amari Cooper or Michael Gallup. Also, it seems like CD Lamb, like when the game starts to slow down from him, he has a second gear. On the kick returns, I'm starting to see why we like him on the punt returns, not kick returns, but mostly punt returns. He had one where, I mean, when he turns across the field and stuff, he's got a burst. And it's a threat for the opposing special teams. So guys, little 30-minute video. I was on a little longer than expected. I appreciate all of y'all coming in the live chat and leaving comments. If you're new to this channel, definitely do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. We're going to have some more Dallas Cowboys content coming your way. See if I got one more comment. Do you think Gallup has a future in Dallas? I feel like there's a good chance he signs with another team for a lot of money. Yeah, I do too. And it'll either go this way. It'll go Gallup or Cooper at one point. And the only thing that leads me to believe we're going to keep Cooper is because he kind of took the hometown deal. And he's lived up to it, in my opinion. He's steadily produced. Every once in a while he goes through some cold streaks, but he's been pretty consistent. This year, I'd say he's been the most consistent receiver. I guess you could argue CD Lamb. But, I think long-term Cooper's probably the guy. I don't want to see Michael Gallup walk, but at some point he's going to want the big deal. But, guys, it's 9 o'clock. I've been out drinking a couple nights this weekend, so I got to get some sleep, catch up on some sleep, and we got to get some videos out quick this week heading into that Washington game on Thursday. I don't know how I'm going to schedule it this week with the previews and that kind of stuff because I'm not used to it being a short week. As a matter of fact, I had the 2 weeks where I could just talk every few days or so about Minnesota, but now we're on a short leash and we got to get moving. Adrian said, good night. Good night, man. Appreciate it. Again, thanks for coming on and chatting in the comments and giving me something to talk about when I get bored. Again, like I said, do me a favor, subscribe for some more Daily Dallas Cowboys content. Leave some comments. I like to reply to the comments after I post the video. And smash that like button. Also, the notification bell next to the subscribe button, because sometimes YouTube gets a little funky with who they show the videos to and stuff. So when you smash the subscribe button or the notification bell, you're going to get notifications when I post a new video. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm not going to keep dragging this on. But again, thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.